Spring is finally here. After months of dreary winter weather, the sun has come out, the weather has warmed up, and new growth has started. This is the perfect time to set up for the new growing season so that we can build up for success and have the best orchid growing season ever. Hi, I'm Jess, and today I'm going to share with you all of the things that I'm working on, all the projects that are coming up, and all of the exciting things that I have in store for the upcoming growing season. So come on in and let's begin. My cymbidium garungii has finally bloomed, and it is a stunning flower. But not only that, it has a great fragrance as well. It kind of has this mellow, honeyed, floral scent. It's really hard to describe, but I think it's quite pleasant indeed. And because this is my first foray into Asian cymbidiums, I think this is quite a success. Growing cymbidium garungii has been a lot easier than I thought, and it's given me the confidence to dive deeper into these Asian cymbidiums, and I'll talk about them in a future video soon. Next are the orchid seedlings. So I talked a little bit about how I've been growing orchids from seeds, and they've been in flask for almost a year now. And looking at one of the jars, I noticed that some of the seeds are climbing up the wall, and that's not the best way for them to grow and develop roots. They really need to be in the agar media or the nutrient media to really flourish. This allowed me the opportunity to do a replate. So a replate is basically moving the mother flask into smaller daughter flasks. And that just allows the current seeds that have germinated to grow on more nutrient dense media. Since this is my first replate, I was really worried about contaminations. And even though I kind of set up my own bathroom clean room environment, I wasn't sure that I was able to get a fully clean environment. After I sealed it up, I just put it under LED lights and kind of left it alone. I was going to check on them to see if there were any contaminations. It's been about a week, and so far everything looks great. And there have been no contaminations, so I think the replates went off without a hitch. I'm going to continue working on this seed project. I have a couple more seed pods to flask, a couple of other things to try out, and I'm going to share with you all of those things I'm learning along that journey and that project as well. Another thing that I'm working on that's tied to my orchid seed project is actually organizing my orchid seed storage collection. I've acquired a couple different seeds. Michael McCarthy gave me a bunch, which was great. I was able to use a couple of them and store them, and it'll be exciting to see how they do. But also the ones that I've collected on my own from some of my plants, I've also tried to find ways to find the best storage solution for them. So the main things to keep in mind for storing orchid seeds is one, having a good organized setup so you don't mix up your seeds. And the second part is to keep them dry enough so that they don't grow any bacteria, harbor any mold, or cause any kind of fungal growth. Once you've sowed the seeds with the green pod, then you can use the rest of the pod and dry it out, and then you can store those seeds there. So a lot of the seeds that I have, they've already been dried already, and I just need to keep them in a place where the humidity is fairly low and that I wouldn't have any problems with mold growth in the future. I don't think this is the perfect solution, so right now I've just put these dried seeds in a plastic bag. Prior to that, they were stored in paper envelopes, but the seed pods are kind of three-dimensional, so they kind of cause some buckling and opening of the envelopes, so that's not necessarily the best solution. So far the plastic bags have been fine since these seeds are already dried, and I just need to maintain the dryness in them. I added a desiccant in the storage bin where all these seed bags are placed, but I know that this is not a long-term solution. So if you have any ideas on how to store these seeds, please let me know. I am really enjoying having this small little project to work on, and hopefully I'll build up a nice collection of seed and continue on this flasking journey. This year is a big year for repotting plants for me. I like to keep my plants in their pots for as long as possible, let them get as big and as healthy as possible. If there is a problem, I will repot the plant to ensure that the plant stays as healthy as possible. Of course, some plants just didn't make it over the winter season, but if they can be saved, I'm going to do my best to make sure they do well and recover. Not only am I repotting plants and giving them a new setup, whether they've outgrown their pots or they need a little bit of rehab, this is also the time that I'm potting up some of my terrestrials. So last year was my first year planting some terrestrial tubers. And this year, some of the tubers have survived, and I'm going to work on repotting them, putting them in new media, and getting them set up for the growing season. Some of them have already started breaking dormancy and putting out a shoot, so I know that leaves will be coming soon, and this is the perfect time. For the terrestrials that do well outdoors, I know I have to add a little bit more fertilizer than I did last year and keep them well watered because they grow fast, so they need all the nutrients they can to survive. For the ones that are a little bit more delicate, like the Curibus, I'm going to have to baby them a little bit more, keep a better eye on them, and make sure that they grow well during their growing season. And once they're dormant, to really hold back on the water, because I think in the case of these types of plants, if they stay wet for too long, they tend to rot their bulbs. So right now is the perfect time to plant those fast-growing terrestrial orchids. So as much as there are a lot of really exciting and cool things going on, there is just some things that it's not as fun, but you definitely have to do, and that is spring cleaning. When it comes to cleaning up orchids, there's just things that you have to keep in mind. Some may be as simple as wiping off leaves, taking off the dust, trimming dead leaves, dead bulbs, dead spikes, all of that stuff. And then other ones are a little bit more unfortunate, like taking away dead plants. Not only that, is also treating for pests. And right now, mealybugs is the main culprit of the deterioration of some of my plants. All the plants that have been infested with the mealybugs have been quarantined, so hopefully it won't be spreading. I've been able to treat a lot of them and just hoping that they won't come back. So that has just been something that I've been continuing to fight. And the last thing is the best part of the spring season, which is getting new plants and new additions. And the weather has finally warmed up so that we're able to receive deliveries from other parts of the United States. So more orchid nurseries are more open to shipping plants over here. And that is really exciting because I love getting plants, and new additions are always exciting, right? So I am really excited to share with you a couple of unboxings coming up and some new plants that are going to add to my collection, and hopefully you'll enjoy those as well. So that is what's going on in my collection for the month of March. And for the spring season, I am really looking forward to how all of these things are going to do, all these projects, all these plants. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you are enjoying these updates, you can follow along on the playlist or hit subscribe to see all future episodes. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!